Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. It's not every day that a famous lead singer wishes you a happy anniversary, but Dennis DeYoung wrote this on my Facebook. It's also not every day that such a famous singer will abandon their glorious voice to technology. However, apparently Dennis DeYoung wanted to use a vocoder in the song to create the ideal robotic sound, and I'm really excited to hear what that sounds like. Let's get to it. Ooh.
Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Mata onimade. Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Mitsu wo shiritai. Go on.
I loved so many aspects of what we just heard. And we're going to go back and we're going to talk about all of them. But I just have to say, the layers in there were so cool. And the way that they started peeling away from each other was so cool. And that robot costume is like kind of creepy. But then also all of these synth sounds and the way that they're just taking me into a totally different atmosphere than Lady. Whoa. Just whoa, there's like such an interesting vibe to this that I didn't expect. I like the way that there's like a part of the sound that feels like it's sort of twinkling in there. It's like it's sort of far back in the mix and it just feels really shiny, but then you have these sort of sawtooth waves that feel super futuristic and are straight down the center, sometimes lapanned actually, so, but they're more central than the little tiny twinkles in the back. It's like a really, really cool soundscape. So interesting. And that sounds like the opening, which I'm forgetting again. Oh, goodness. It's that opening to so many movies where you have that really cool sound thing. It goes, and suddenly zooms out. That's partly because I think it went to an octave unison with a bunch of those notes. There. It just drops like crazy. That initial robot sound is amazing. I think, so with the vocoder, it sounds like that sound was made and then maybe the layers were also added to it. That's a great robot sound, yeah. Yeah, it almost sounds like too much autotune was used, right? But then you have that extra electronic element on it. I totally agree. This is a great way to get a very robotic sound. Nice. Okay, I read something about this before. I'm going to see if I can figure out Stan Winston. So anytime I'm going to do a video here, I read through a bunch of prep work. Thank you, team, for helping me out on this because it is really, really tough when I'm seeing a band for the first time or second time, a video for the first time. Uh, it's just so tough to know what sort of information I should be prepared with sometimes. Things like band members' names are really hard to remember, especially if you've never seen them before. It's just very challenging. So, this was a really fun extra note that one of my team members found, which was that Stan Winston, who would become well known through his work on the Terminator, Aliens, and Jurassic Park, designed the Roboto costume and mask. That's so cool, and I get that. It feels like it feels edgy, feels a little creepy. Let's keep going. Whoa. That's amazing. That is such a cool fade there, and then the way that the voices go with they're peeling out, and the way that we see it peeling out in the visual too. Oh, that's so cool. It's like a extended trill.
You're wondering who I am. Secret, secret, I got a secret. Machine or mannequin. Secret, secret, I got a secret. With parts made in Japan. Secret, secret, I got a secret. I am the modern man.
Whoa. Whoa. First of all, his voice is just incredible. The instant tone quality is it's got a beautiful fullness of it with clarity. There's a little fluffy in there at the same time. It's just a mixture of so many pleasing vocal qualities. And you, as a performer, you work to highlight all of those things, and it often takes a lot of time to just sort of nurse it to get to just the right sound. I really love his tone quality. I'm fascinated by how this vocal line is written because, right, what I know of them is the song Lady. That is an incredible song. I love that song so much. And this writing is so much more angular. It's starting quite low, and it feels, I think it feels more electronic because of the way he keeps going back down and isn't necessarily creating these super long legato soaring kinds of lines. Fascinating. I'm going to go back.
You're wondering who I am. Secret, secret, I got a secret. Machine or mannequin. Secret, secret, I got a secret.
The chorus part in there reminds me of ELO. And if you guys know me at all, you know that I'm into such an ELO kick right now. And I love this sort of extra bits of choral vocals that come in everywhere.
Machine or mannequin.
It almost sounds like there's like a theremin in there, that there's a really high-pitched thing. It's not, I don't think it's a theremin. It's super, super precise. And theremins are very slidey often, but it has that kind of sound. One more time.
Secret, I got a secret. Machine or mannequin.
It's like a few octaves higher than his vocal line.
With parts made in Japan. Secret, secret,
It's a fun ride.
I am the modern man. I've got a secret I've been hiding under my skin. My heart is human, my blood is boiling, my brain IBM. So if you see me acting strangely, don't be surprised. I'm just a man who needed someone and someone to hide to keep me alive.
Oh my word. I love his expression. The way that a pitch isn't just a pitch, it's got so many other things molding around it. It's just, there's so much story and emotion and backstory that you're getting because of the way that he's emoting through each pitch. And oh, this is so cool. I'm gonna go back to that section again.
I've got a secret I've been hiding under my skin.
Each little note, I think, is a lesson and expression. But we'll just take under my skin, for example. The breath right before it is actually what I think starts the vocal phrase. I don't think you can separate a preceding breath from a vocal phrase. They are so interconnected, and the way you breathe is how you already start to send out emotion. So let's listen just to the breath right before under my skin.
Secret I've been hiding under my skin.
It's a quick breath of under. And he catches that breath and goes in right away. It sounds a little desperate.
I've got the secret I've been hiding under my skin.
And if I were to take this and put it in Melodyne, for example, and show you exactly where it's sitting on pitch, it's not just like a perfectly clear blog. It's not auto-tuned at all. You hear there's like a little sharpness, I think, that happens that gives it a little bit of that extra desperation. And the way he starts it under, it feels like it's slightly spoken at the beginning. And then on skin, he holds that in out with a little bit of vibrato as it's sort of shaking off at the end. All of it sounds desperate.
Got the secret I've been hiding under my skin. My heart is human, my blood is boiling, my brain IBM.
That's such a good line. Such a good rhyme. Oh my gosh, my under my skin and IBM are the rhymes. Amazing. I love the way he added that little bit of distortion in there too. He's got such control over so many little motive vocal pieces.
I've been hiding under my skin. My heart is human, my blood is boiling,
Wow.
my brain IBM. So if you see me acting strangely, don't be surprised. I'm just a man who needed someone and someone to hide to keep me alive. Just keep me alive.
I just love how clear these words are. They're gorgeous. It's like, it's so easy to follow the story, and then you add that emotion to it as well. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. One more time.
Just keep me alive. Somewhere to hide. To keep me alive. I'm not a robot without emotions. I'm not what you see. I've come to help you with your problems so we can be free.
Whoa. They even got like futuristic Japanese synths in there. Fascinating. Also, I understand that all of this is sort of like a big musical idea as well. It really sounds like he could be the lead in a musical, and I think that that's essentially what they've built here. You have this incredible story around rock, and I think it's Kilroy, and tons of characters. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, referring to, go back and watch the original, look up the story on the original. I'm, again, digesting this right now for the first time ever, and honestly, I want to just write the story at the moment. So we're going to go back a little bit.
Just keep me alive. Somewhere to hide. To keep me alive. I'm not a robot without emotions. I'm not what you see. I've come to help you with your problems so we can be free.
That's interesting. This song, when I first read through the lyrics, I thought, oh my gosh, this feels like so much of the conversation surrounding AI right now. But at the same time, I know that it was also just talking about our general increased reliance on technology. Don't get me wrong. I love technology. Like, the charismatic voice dwells online. I am so happy for technology, and I'm really, really happy by how it allows so much connection whenever times are crazy and you have to be at home. You can connect with other people online. It's beautiful. it's also scary sometimes. Like, it's really terrifying to think about what might happen when robots or AI starts to take over. What's that? How do we protect ourselves? And the answer is it just seems to be forging so quickly ahead. I'm not really sure that there is a possible way to govern this. I'm very open to conversation on this and very much encourage it because I think we need to be talking a lot about this right now. It's fascinating to me that people weren't talking more about it earlier because obviously it's already being touched on here. And this conversation is very, very important to bring to some helpful conclusions for our entire race right now. I'm going to go back a little bit more. One more time.
Somewhere to hide, to keep me alive. I'm not a robot without emotions. I'm not what you see. I've come to help you with your problems so we can be free. I'm not a hero. I'm not a savior.
That's so good. He's essentially having a sustained holler, right? It's not like yelling in a painful way. There's more openness to it. It's really sustained, has good breath control underneath it, breath support. And then he's also giving a little extra, really, I think it's upper structures in his vocal tractor, adding to that extra grit and that extra distortion in the sound. Wow.
I'm not a hero. I'm not a savior.
Like, again, if you put that into any sort of melodyne, any sort of autotune, it would just not know what to do with it. It is ultimate expression and just, I think it's untarnished.
I'm not a hero. I'm not a savior. Forget what you know.
Also, his mouth shapes are extraordinary, and that is probably why it is so easy to understand him.
I'm not a hero. I'm not a savior. Forget what you know. I'm just a man whose circumstances went beyond his control. Beyond my control. We all need control. I need.
Whoa, that was just a straight up yodel there, where he went from a lower register, let the voice crack as it essentially shifted dominance to a different set of muscles in the vocal tract, and then went up into an upper register.
Circumstances went beyond his control. Beyond my control. We all need control.
That's awesome. Also, when you flip up like that, for guys in particular, it can be really useful to use an ooh vowel on that top, which is exactly what he does. Instead of just control, it's control ooh. Listen to it one more time.
We all need control. I need control. We all need control. I am the modern man.
Oh my gosh. That is such a cool transition. The way that they said, hey, let's make this super sharp. It definitely feels extremely modern, yet it's also actually quite an old video. And they just said, let's make it super abrupt. Let's cut everything out, just that silence. And I love the way they caught this acting on camera at the same time. Whoa, I feel like that was just brilliant and perfect for what they're doing with the song.
I need control.
We all need control.
We all need control.
Oh, yes.
I am the modern man. Secret, secret, I've got a secret. Who hides behind a mask. Secret, secret, I've got a secret. So no one else can see. Secret, secret, I've got a secret. My true identity.
Whoa, that was a cool effect. I'm going to go back a little bit because he's talking about the secret, right? And listen to the way he's shaded the vocal quality to feel a little bit more secretive.
I've got a secret. Who hides behind a mask.
That's a great example right there. There's a little more feeling of a hush on his sound, where there's a little extra air essentially flowing through it. When we hear that extra air, it sounds more like a whisper. But this is obviously, it's a very projected whisper because he's still singing.
I've hides behind a mask. Secret, secret, I've got a secret. So no one else can see. Secret, secret, I've got a secret. My true identity.
T. Oh, that's so funny. He actually, in this lower part, he has the sound a lot more forward focused, and then on the E there, he rounds it, creates more dome. There's almost a tiny break there in his voice as well. And it just, you can tell that there's a big change that happens just in his vocal tone.
I've got a secret, so no one else can see. Secret, secret,
Yes.
I've got a secret. My true identity.
Like if I were to take just C and identity, with the C, he has, if we were to watch his mouth shape while he was in the studio, he has this kind of shape. There's going to be more, a little more horizontal feeling here, probably a little more teeth. And then on identity, if he did identity, it would sound like that. And instead, there's a rounding T that is much more akin to like a classical kind of sound. I'll go back again.
Secret, I've got a secret, so no one else can see. Secret, secret, I've got a secret. My true identity.
I like that. Oh, that's a cool soft sound.
Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo, Domo, Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo, Domo.
Wow. I think that the sounds that they've chosen for this are so cool. The vocal production is amazing. You can really hear how you have such an incredible bass instrument, but then he's chosen to bring expression to this song with this extra vocoder element, and it really is the perfect robot sound. I gotta say, I'm a huge fan of it.
Domo, Domo, Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo, Domo, Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Thank you very much, oh Mr. Roboto. Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Thank you very much, oh Mr. Roboto, for helping me escape to where I needed to. Thank you.
Oh, wow. There's almost a Michael Jackson element in there in his voice. I love hearing the robotic sounds next to the super raw sounds and the extra emotive sounds. It really highlights that difference between being perfectly on pitch versus having that huge amount of expression flooding through.
Thank you very much, oh Mr. Roboto. Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Thank you very much, oh Mr. Roboto, for helping me escape to where I needed to. Thank you. Mr. Roboto. Thank you. Mr. Roboto. Thank you. Mr. Roboto. Please, thank you.
I love the way he's just so direct with his sound here. It's just, especially in this lead character, the sound is going straight out. I remember I've talked with a few different singers about what they think about, and a common theme is a certain directness. It's often, I think, really easy for us as singers to really nourish a sound in here, maybe a little more than we need to, and we can be so self-critical. And ultimately, you got to give your sound up, right? If you're going to be singing for somebody else, you got to give that sound to them and let go of all of that self-judgment all the time. There is a place to listen to yourself and definitely be self-critical and use that to improve. But when you're performing, you have to just give it. And so you have to also practice just giving it. And his sound is just so direct. It feels like it's spilling out to an audience right away.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Roboto. Thank you. Mr. Roboto. Please, thank you.
That's a cool side. Oh, that's so nice. Man, the way he goes up there. So if I were to talk in like classical terms, we would call that switching over into his falsetto. But often, if we're talking about more contemporary terms, we might talk about that as a head register. And just so you know, when I talk about vocal registers, they are very much a part of wherever a person's background is from. We'll often use different words to refer to the same vocal mechanism, the same whatever is happening in here, and we'll call it different things. And that's really, really frustrating for anyone that doesn't already have a huge background in vocal pedagogy. So if you're confused, that's why. It's because all the vocal lists, the vocal scientists, all of those people out there haven't agreed on a commonly used terminology. But I will say that there are reasons for each side, and I've looked at them all, and I really understand why you might use that. Here, the way he jumps up, it's definitely going up into an upper register, which means we've had, again, a switch of different muscles. Essentially, instead of being a TA dominant sound, so like a thyroarytenoid is that muscle we're talking about, it becomes a CT dominant sound, so cricothyroid. But that sound has a little more reinforcement. It's got some heft in it. So in classical terms, we might call that a reinforced falsetto, right? Or we might just say it's still, might feel a little more like head voice in there. But then in contemporary terms, we just straight up call that head voice a lot of times. So in case you were wondering what register, there's your answer. There are so many different registers it could be labeled as. Let's go back a little bit and enjoy that moment one more time. There we go. It's so clean and powerful. I love it. He even does like a scoop from the bottom that feels like he's bringing up some of the heft of the sound. But he has that really narrow focus, so he's not trying to take a semi-truck up there, right? It's like he took the semi-truck and he used a thing from Ant-Man and made it smaller and then went up. Ooh. That was such cool whooshy sounds going on each side. Oh. You guys, you have to listen to this in headphones. It's like, I feel like I'm inside of some weird scientific experiment. The problem's plain to see. Whoa. Too much technology. Machines to save our lives. Machines dehumanize. This is such a huge and powerful statement. And I think there's reasons for every side. I like it. My personal belief is that I like it when technology is used to allow us to connect to other humans more. That's good. That's really good. If it helps you to make your work more efficient so that you can bring more of your incredible genius to other people, that's awesome. If it allows you to be a part of a community that connects you to thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, that's awesome. But yeah, if it dehumanizes things, I don't want that. That's my personal feeling, though. Just saying, there's room for many, many opinions. Too much technology. There's that hush in his voice again, too. Machines to save our lives. Machines dehumanize. Wow. So that was an octave jump that he did. And the way that he was hushed in that lower part, and then just came out with so much power is very, very impressive to me. He was really able to control his dynamics extremely well.
The time has come at last. Secret, secret, I've got a secret. To throw away this mask. Secret, secret, I've got a secret. But now everyone can see. Secret, secret, I've got a secret. My true identity. I'm
Ooh, whoa, that was a cool sound. I just also want to mention that part. I like the way it isn't really super square. I don't feel like it fits within our normal 4/4 standards. It has a sort of way where it feels like it's sort of inserted an extra measure in there. I could go back and do an entire time signature analysis on it, but ultimately, I think what's important is the feel that makes it feel more jagged, less regular. It definitely feels a little more of like that electronic pieced together idea that we've gotten throughout the entire song.
got a secret. But now everyone can see. Secret, secret, I've got a secret. My true identity. I'm Kilroy. 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 Kilroy.
Whoa. Those are so many cool sounds in that last bit. I want to go back one more time. I like the sort of scrambled sound that happens there, and then the sound at the end sounds like it both could be like a Darth Vader gone wrong in a big long spaceship corridor, or maybe the internet being disrupted by your little sister picking up the phone when you're playing World of Warcraft.
Secret, secret, I've got a secret. My true identity. I'm Kilroy. Kilroy.
This is cool.
Kilroy.
Really cool.
Kilroy.
Dang. This song is amazing. I love the way that we have so many different sound elements that really take us to this sci-fi land, and a perfect combination of tech getting added to the sound of his voice in order to further the message. Ultimately, singing and music is about imparting a message to somebody, and this song made my head swim. Thank you so much for such an incredible creation, Styx. And if you all would like to see some more analysis, maybe of that first song, Lady, and some others like it, you can check out this playlist over here. May you fall more in love with music every day.